Hello, hello! Welcome to another week of Speak Up with PT and Friends. My friend will be joining in a moment. He's kind of more than a friend. I'll be honest with you guys on that.
There we are.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
What's up, Chief?
Oh, not much. Just hanging out in the car. Best place to get reception.
In the car. Well, I'm sitting in my chair in my bedroom.
Well, that's nice.
Yes, absolutely.
I was just telling Rich, he was on in a second ago. I was telling Rich it's the best place for reception and for the least amount of noise. However, it's not so great for temperature. So
Right.
so I'm a little sweating right now. So
Nice.
So how was your day?
Well, it was good. It was a little, normal.
Normal.
For these days. Sally and Anna, my wife, and number 4 daughter are in Tulsa. So
That's right.
I just dropped Andrew off for his football practice.
Cool.
So Justice and I are here.
Nice.
For 30 minutes, and then we'll leave and go.
Very
it's about
cool.
a 30-minute drive. So
whoa.
Good times.
Good times.
So we're, Wednesday always comes. We have Wednesday night service, so
Yeah.
I'm doing that tomorrow. So I worked on that today, tried to get ahead a little bit. So
yeah, I did all my filming this morning for Sunday's message. So I was able to, it was really nice. I was able to get all done pretty quickly. So I was pretty happy with myself.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so most people who watch this will probably know who you are. But just in case they don't, would you mind introducing yourself a little bit and maybe kind of going into who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, most importantly, I am Tim's father-in-law.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, Brian Leifeste. I am Tim's father-in-law. Married to Sally for the last 36 years.
Wow.
We have 6 children.
Mm.
And Pastor Tim is married to number 3 daughter, Jessica.
Number 3.
Yeah. And so we have been involved working in 4 different churches over the last 33 years, I believe it is now.
Incredible.
33 or 34 years. So,
yeah.
12 at one church, 1 year at another church, 6 years at Grace, where you're at.
Yeah.
Doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's fun. And then 14 years at North Point here in New Braunfels. So, yeah.
It's wonderful. I was actually going to ask you a little bit, but before I get into some deeper questions, I wanted to ask you some fun questions, if you don't mind. I always like to ask these random questions with people and just see what they come up with.
Please.
But I know that you are a musician, so I wanted to ask, is there a favorite instrument that you like to play, or if it's just guitar because I know that's where I see you mostly play on, is there a favorite guitar that you have?
Yeah, my, what is that? Probably a 1980, no, that's wrong. 1978 Ibanez SG, something like that.
Okay.
Double humbucker pickups.
Yeah.
It used to have a 9-volt battery in it. So you could make it just, distortion would scream.
Right.
With that thing, or it could be like a little whammy thing, and tremolo. That's not a whammy thing. Yeah, but that's I still have that. I rarely play it because I have access to it's like a 1970 something Les Paul, and
Yeah.
hey, it's a Les Paul, and it's
that's right.
It's real. It's a real Les Paul. It's not, made in China. So,
have you had those for a while?
No, the Les Paul's not mine. I've had the Ibanez since 1978.
Oh, so you've had it since then?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been what, 22, 30, 42 years now. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I need to check it out next time I'm down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
yeah,
that's really cool.
Maybe you can take it home if you want. Yeah, for a bit. So, yeah. I don't play it, so I play the Les Paul when I play. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good to know. Good to know.
And worship music
Yeah.
is 4 chords. So
Oh, yeah.
what do you need a good guitar for? It's just 4 chords.
Just for.
And if you can throw a few little melodic lines in it,
Yeah.
it's worship. There you go. So and
Uh,
a capo,
oh,
makes you a master of every key. So
absolutely. That's my cheat. That's my
so
cheat sheet.
I'm a capo man myself. So
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. Um, that's great. Well, hey, all right. So switching gears a little bit. One of the things I remember um, learning about my wife, your daughter, was that you guys like to watch sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
That you and Jess share that interest, and so I was going to ask you, what is probably one of your most favorite movies that you've seen in the past 10, 20 years? Like, can you name like maybe a handful or maybe one or two that you really just like, yeah, those are really great movies?
Sci-fi
Sure.
movies.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in this only with Jess
Hmm.
because Sally, not so much a sci-fi. She
Not a cup of
watches
tea.
them with me. She will
Yeah.
watch them with me. And if we ever get to go to the movies again, I'm sure we'll do that.
Yeah.
But that's not her first choice. She
Right.
goes, oh, that was water in my
Oh
lap.
no.
Oh, we're all right. Makes it interesting.
Sorry.
Um, so Signs,
Oh, good one.
Signs,
Yeah.
that's a classic at our house.
Yeah. Shyamalan.
I have to say, this is not sci-fi, but it
Oh,
could
go
be
for it.
The Three Amigos.
I was
That's
going to
also,
ask.
yeah,
I was going to ask because that's one of Jessica's favorite. She told me
absolutely.
that's one of y'all's like the family favorites, and I watched it with her because
Yeah.
I knew it was one of her favorites. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's good, but
Yeah,
it's
you didn't catch it, huh? You didn't catch
no,
the, yeah, well,
it's not bad.
that thing you do is also
Oh,
pretty
that's great.
popular around here.
Yeah.
What did we watch last night? Justice and I. Andrew was at work, so we watched one of the Avenger movies last night.
Oh,
We're
cool.
kind of watching them in order right now, every once in a
Oh,
while. So
nice.
yeah,
That's a good time to do it.
it is. If Sally's away, we can. We watch them when she's here, but we're
Right.
bored. She's not here. We're bored. So
Yeah.
hope she's watching. Hi, honey.
Very good.
Yeah.
One of the just a side note, the family film that we watched that well, I guess it's more me, but Nacho Libre was the one that I always got into
Yeah.
younger in high school. And what was the one? I think actually now that I think about it, it's That Thing You Do that me and our family really loved. That we
Yeah.
just dug into. It's just a classic Tom Hanks, and
Yeah.
it's a cool film.
Yeah. The best song in the movie is the second, the song, where Tom Hanks does his little move,
Oh
that's the
yeah,
best song in the movie. It's not, that thing you
not
do
the
or
theme, huh?
whatever. That's that's even got a guitar solo in it, a little
That's
twangy
right.
twang. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Twangy
Wow.
twang,
I need, you know what? I might have to go back and watch it now. Now I haven't watched it
Yeah.
in a while. It's a good one.
And I do see that my wife is watching.
Yes. Yes. Hello, my favorite mother in love and my wife, of course.
I just,
All right. One more fun question for you. And this one's just an easy one, but what do you, I'm going to say it like this because if you're in ministry, it's easy to get caught up in doing the things that you do for ministry. So what are some things that you do or you like to do the best during your Sabbaths, your time off, your time away from ministry? What are some things that you just decompress with?
decompress with. Well, once or twice a year, I do enjoy hunting and fishing.
Hey, all right. That's good.
Hopefully this year maybe we can make that work.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Decompression Sunday afternoons.
Mm,
It's laying in my bed,
mm,
sleeping occasionally.
mm-hmm.
Um, watching YouTube videos on fishing or hunting.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Boy, Sunday afternoons, there's not a lot of energy around
Yeah.
here. So, and we're pretty good about taking Mondays off.
Hmm.
We have been our whole ministry lives.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and I would say it's it's necessary if you're going to have longevity
Mm.
in this
Right.
thing, in doing this.
Yeah.
You know, to you know, my wife and I, your mother in love, my sweetie, uh, we still like to hang out together,
Yeah. That's great.
take
Yeah.
rides, you know, go drink London Fogs. You know, that's a real strong drink, right? It's tea with oat milk and honey. There you go. Woo.
It's strong.
Yeah, we enjoy that though. That's good.
Yeah.
You know, to laugh at nothing.
Mm. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the things now too. Just Jess and I have really, whenever I have days off, just to really enjoy nap times, like when the kids are napping, and
yeah,
just take the moments to just hang out, do nothing, do puzzles, play Yahtzee, just
yeah,
hang out. And
yeah,
yeah, I think it's the more, now granted, I've only been married, will be 6 years this year. But it's just something that I'm really learning to enjoy those small moments as much as I possibly can. And it's just the small things that I think, like you
yeah,
mentioned, longevity, it just really accumulates. And so,
yeah. You know, these days too, you know, in this season of our lives, uh, just having those moments, be it online or in
mm,
person with our grandchildren, are huge.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
we,
absolutely.
yeah, nothing better than that.
Right. Yeah. Well, since you brought it up, I wanted to kind of start this main dialogue with asking. So you kind of touched on it earlier. You used to be the youth pastor at Grace. You were youth pastor just I think 3 or 4 youth pastors before or after before
Three
me.
or four youth
Uh,
pastors. Okay, yeah, you're
that's
right.
how I look at it. That's um,
Yeah, that's good.
and so I wanted to ask you, how did, because actually, I don't know if I know this, but how did you and your wife get into ministry? I knew you went to Rhema. I knew that part, but was there anything else that kind of pushed you into ministry?
Pushed me into ministry. You know, I think I came to the Lord April 2nd, 1983, and was at church the next Sunday.
Mm.
Actually, met my future wife that next Sunday.
Oh, wow.
She was very young. I was young too, but not as young as my wife. And so, you know, I went to I was in every service,
Mm.
every meeting at church
Yeah.
throughout the young, and you know, just felt a nudge in my heart to, you know, they were talking about Rhema around the church at that time, and you know, kind of felt like that's something I should do. Went and
Yeah.
talked to the pastor about it. He kind of, you know, he affirmed what I sensed,
Mm.
but he encouraged me to just maybe tap the brake a bit.
Mm.
I appreciate his fatherly advice and
Yeah.
wisdom on it. And the reality was I did. And between that time and the time we went to Rhema, we
Mm.
got married.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, uh, really went. Our emphasis was missions, 2 years of
Mm.
missions. Came back home, said we'd never do youth ministry. We didn't want to do youth ministry. And that's usually how that works,
Yeah.
you know. But we surrendered to whatever. And Pastor called me in one day and said, "Hey, this is probably 2 or 3 months after we got home.
Mhm.
My youth pastor just quit, just resigned. Will you take it?" And so I
Mm.
think we took a day, you know, to
Wow.
pray and yeah. So that was 1987.
Wow.
1987, end of 1986, really. Yeah. And yeah, we did student ministry at that church for 12, 13 years, then pastored a year, and
Yeah.
then came back into student ministry again at Grace. So,
Yeah.
yep,
That's wonderful.
that's
What?
the short version.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
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 it's kind of funny just how, it's almost like this. not all the time, but sometimes it's what the flesh doesn't want, God is kind of pushing you towards, because there's that hesitation, there's that, I don't know to use the word fear, but maybe just this reluctancy to dive into something that you're not familiar with. And I love to see even students who over the years did not want to go to church, and then once they started diving into just relationship with Jesus and to diving into the word and just all those things, and just see how much they become just engulfed with everything. And they're still, they're not students anymore, but I have some amazing leaders who used to be students, and
Sure.
they
Yeah.
they weren't in the church very much, but then they got into it, and now they're just serving and loving kids. And it's just really amazing to see how reluctancy can turn into passion, and
Absolutely.
it's just really cool to see that. So,
and I think when we cooperated with God, with the grace of God, when we submitted or surrendered, I'll say, that's good. There was the grace or the equipping or desire even to function in that.
Right.
And we had, over 20 years of student ministry, and we absolutely loved, not every moment, but
right.
for the most part, there were some real challenging moments, but there were some the most awesome moments in ministry I've ever walked in and walked through. So, and they were with teenagers. So that was great. It's awesome. I love it.
It's always a fun thing to hear people, especially those who are considering volunteering, just like the reasonings behind not volunteering. And granted, there's some valid reasons sometimes, but it's always fun to see people who, especially with volunteers, who kind of go like, let me think about it. Or I'll have one volunteer and they'll drag in their spouse, and like, they wouldn't want to, but they drag in their spouse, and they end up just loving it and getting into it. And just, it's incredible to see the passion and this is the reason why I love being a youth pastor, is just to see pure passion in students and what they can have when Jesus is just in their hearts. And just, it's hard to explain. It's just incredible to see that.
Sure.
Well, hey, you mentioned this earlier, and you talked about how at Rhema your focus was missions, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that tonight. About how did that kind of form up? Is that something that's always just kind of been in your heart, you and your wife, and just kind of something that you've been wanting to do? And then secondly, was that the kind of the first thought when you started your church? Was that something that you knew that from day one we wanted to be mission minded?
Missions has always been part of who we are, part of me, part of I think Sally went to Mexico once in the first decade of our marriage, of our marriage. And I went to Mexico, that first church, probably a dozen times, went to Russia, went to, Peru, lots of places.
Wow.
We've always been involved in missions, in going.
Yeah.
And, when North Point came into being, when God brought it, birthed it, launched it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We knew that we needed a focus point with that. So we knew somebody in Eastern Africa, in Mozambique, I believe it is, where they're at. And so we just supported them. We kind of, we were narrow. We supported her, actually, for a couple of years. At the same time, Sally was our missions director. And so we're praying. We're asking God for something that we could own.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. Something that we can invest in and it be our own, not just kind of shotgun it, where your seed is scattered wide, but rather be really focused in what we do, how we do it, what we're investing in financially, with our prayer, and all these things. And Rachel went to Uganda for about 3 weeks while she was in, my second daughter, Rachel, went to Uganda and came back and just showed us this video from her trip. It's like a music a video set to music, that type of from the,
Right.
from the night.
Yes.
And actually, that was from the 2000s. And we watched it, and something in it really just spoke to my wife, and about orphans and about Burundi. And so basically she began just to pray and to eat and to absorb everything she could find out about Burundi. And then at the same time, God brought moments and people and over and over and over again from Burundi that maybe lived there, had lived there, or were from there visiting in the area. One was a former professor at TLU in Seguin. So he came to our house, we had dinner, we went out to eat, talked to him, he came to church. It was really interesting how God did that, because he did,
absolutely.
Really Burundi for us wasn't on the map.
It's so small, literally.
It really is. It's the heart of Africa, but And so 10 years ago now, 10 years ago, Sally and another colleague went for the first time. There were some prayer goals for that trip. She met people from Tasmania that we had connected with prior to, that were working in Cibitoke, Burundi. And then she met Freddie, and which is from Burundi Youth for Christ. And so Sally knew while she was there, that's who we're to work with. That's who we're to partner with. And so we've had a 10-year relationship with Burundi Youth for Christ, with Freddie, with Mama Joe, with so many others that are there. But we are partnering with Burundi Youth for Christ and with J Life, which is Bosco. It's been an adventure, and it remains an adventure. This is a really weird time right now because the border's closed, the airport's closed. You can't go.
Right.
We can't go. And so I was actually there when all this, that
I was glad to say.
Down. So I made it home. So I was grateful for that. So that's kind of, I was thinking about a year ago, just the idea about writing a book about, maybe I'm for sure with Sally, but about another option for missions with the local church. Because our mission is not something we support someone else to do and to go, or that's living there. Our mission is what we do as a church in another land. And so the church then is engaged, and their hearts are in it. I mean, I've had people have dreams about Burundi. When I was over there one year, this lady got sick, and she said she had a dream, and all these Burundians were around her praying for her.
Wow.
It's pretty, who knows if it was her imagination or whatever. But yet it was real for her. And, we'll take more. We've taken people over. Hopefully one day, the one I'm talking to will go.
Absolutely.
So we love it. We love the people. It's really a long journey to get there, but it's so worth going and being there. Yep.
Wow. So I know you have to leave soon, but I wanted to ask just one final thing. It kind of just sums up everything. But what are some of both the challenges that you've encountered, obviously with transportation, and obviously with just traveling there, and just, with the government, but also what are some of the, I guess, I know it's gonna be so hard to, answer this, but maybe some of the best memories or the best encounters, some of the best fruit that you've seen out of doing this for the past 10 years.
Probably my wife and I would have different answers, but I'm going to tell you the one that I just see Jesus in. There's a little place outside of Cibitoke, which is in the northwest corner of the country. There's some mountains, probably 10 miles from there, called Mugwi. And in these mountains are tribal people. They're Batwa people. And Batwas are pygmies. And so there's this group of people, probably 60 families, that live on the side of this mountain. And it is a steep, it's amazing that people can live up there.
Yeah.
And it's red dirt. And so we began to go there about 3 years ago. And all I can say is Jesus is walking those red trails on that mountain.
Wow.
And there's a church there now. And there's probably, all those families, those 60 families are part of that church.
Wow.
And they're all born again, all
Yeah.
saved. They've had the greatest miracle. They've come from death to life now.
Yeah.
And so disease has dropped and
Wow.
sickness has dropped. And this is one of the practical things.
Yeah.
When we first went there, none of the huts or little, their pods, what they're living in, mud with thatched roofs, had outhouses next to them. Now the majority of them do. And so because of that, disease has come down, sickness.
That's incredible.
And now they have 5 acres to plant crops on.
Oh.
Bosco presented it to us. We were going to help. We were going to buy rice and beans and help people eat. He says, "Can I ask you to consider another thing? Would you be willing to help us buy land?" And so somebody, a couple, 2 or 3 people from the church. I mean, it was fast. All the money that was needed came in for the land, plus seed, plus equipment, plus I think they bought a cow. All of it.
Yeah.
And so their first crop comes in. Their harvest comes in this summer on those 5 acres. Pineapples, corn, wheat.
Love it.
All the cabbage. That's a big one. So what is that? It gives them food security and also a means to trade or to sell. And so no longer are they the poorest people on the planet. Jesus began with their heart, with their spirit, and then their health now is coming up. Their lives are coming up. We did a men's marriage retreat, not a retreat, a men's meeting on marriage 2 years ago. I taught them basically the Bible says, it says, what does it say? It says, husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church.
Right.
2 days. I taught on that 2 days.
Yeah.
That scripture. And they repented, of all sorts of things with their relationship with their wife, as far as treating them bad, abusing them.
Right.
Anything you can imagine. So the wives were having a meeting separate. And so they came back in a couple of days and just were giving testimony about what Jesus was doing in their husbands, how they've repented to them, and how said they'll never be the same. And we've heard that some of them were drunks, now are leaders in the church. It's just the evidence of the grace of God on the side of a mountain with people. They're people that I will see again. I believe I will.
Yeah.
But the majority of people that we tell about this story, that's not even on the radar. Yeah, that's why I think missions is so vital, because we're investing in someone, in another people group, a tribe, that they may never be able to do anything for us.
That's right. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, there is so much reward. I'm not talking about natural things. Just there's such an honor to go that God would trust us to go and be a part of touching, basically an unreached people group. Yeah. This is one of the most, had the privilege of being all over the world. That one's one of the most exciting things I've ever been a part of. That one right there. Yeah. Well, that's a whole tribe, I know. Whole group, Man,
it's incredible, because it's just this whole culture. It's a whole culture and a whole mindset and a whole family. And I love that. That is so beautiful and so just beautiful to think about.
You know, here, just a thought. I know I got to go. The gospel works
Yeah.
everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere,
Right.
everywhere, all
Yeah.
places and all peoples,
Yeah. Absolutely.
every culture. Yeah.
Mm.
Every culture. Yeah. It works.
I love that ripple effect.
Woo.
Just to see how
Yeah.
that happens, it's incredible.
It is. It is. It's awesome.
Well, sir, I will let you go. I know to go pick up Andrew.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
him and Justice I said hello.
Yeah.
Miss you guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me and just talking
Yeah.
about all those things. I really enjoyed talking to you. I've always loved talking to you. I said it before you came on here, but you're more. This is called Speak Up with PT and Friends, but you're more than a friend. And thank you, sir, for being my family and for just having so much wisdom and for all that you do. So I really appreciate you.
Well, honored to be a part of this. This has been fun. Good stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Proud of you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Yes, sir. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.